Creepy Basement Studios presents Creepy Basement Classroom.
Welcome back, Basement Dwellers. So this will be episode 2 of the Heroes, Villains, and Anti-Heroes episode. And today we'll be talking about villains. Villains are an interesting group of characters. I mean, we love to hate them. And I think what you'll find in today's segment of the interview that I had with Justin and Christina, that backstory is just as important to villains too. So let's check out that segment of the interview.
All right, let's get to villains, because exactly. Some I'm going to throw out there right away. Of course, we're going to talk about Joker, and it can get messy talking about the Joker because there's like the movie timelines. That it is going to be a standalone movie. I haven't heard if you know what's going on with that, and different actors have different interpretations, and
They just announced in the comics that they're doing a series called The Three Jokers because there have always been three Jokers, and Batman never noticed.
What?
Yeah, no, that's not a joke. That's a thing. That's happening. That's. I'm actually really excited to read that, honestly. But yeah, that's apparently a thing. But that's a little too far in the future. Let's talk about stuff that's established, stuff that we know.
Now, how often do villains also have a tragic backstory?
Almost always.
Yeah, I would go with almost
always.
That has.
I think the point of both heroes and villains, and generally like 95% of the time, having tragic backstories is you give a tragic backstory to different people and see what happens.
Right.
Like everybody's going to handle it differently. And who are you going to look up to when your own thing happens, you know?
And on the topic of the Joker, they actually cover that in Alan Moore and Brian Boland's classic book, The Killing Joke, in which they kind of give an origin for the Joker. He was kind of a failing comedian who needed to make money because his wife was pregnant, so he got into a life of crime. He was gonna like help these guys break into the chemical factory that he worked at, and rob them. But everything goes sideways. Batman ends up pushing him into a vat of chemicals, which stains his skin and his hair and kind of drives him insane. And I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Right before that, as he was about to commit the crime, he got a call that his wife had gone into premature labor and died because of it. But the gang forced him into following through, and of course, all of that goes down. And but the real point of all of that is the Joker outright says it to Batman, and it says the only difference between you and me is that we both had one bad day and responded to it differently.
I had a lot of kids pestering me in a loving way, almost daily. Did you see the Joker? Did you see the Joker? Did you see the Joker? So, and I did not see it opening weekend. I ended up taking my oldest to the Saratoga Comic-Con, and I wasn't going to go in. So I just had a couple hours to kill. I found a parking spot next to a theater. They had the Joker starting in 5 minutes on an IMAX screen. So I'm like, yep, that'll work just fine.
Awesome.
It's an intense story.
It is. And I think one of the things that made that movie work is that they were able to get the audience behind them, at least to some degree. Mm-hmm. And the audience walks in when they're buying their tickets. They know they're not seeing the good guy movie.
It was.
So for me, I was so looking forward to the Joker movie because, you know, Joker and Harley are my favorite things. And I was so nervous about them doing a standalone Joker. I'm like, they got to do it right. And I love Joaquin Phoenix. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening with this movie. I know it's just a backstory for him, but like, we're not supposed to sympathize with the Joker. And you go in thinking you're going to come out being sympathetic for the guy. And you kind of do and you kind of don't. Like, you're just like, I understand what happened, but oh God, it was so bad.
Right.
And like, it really speaks just like mounds of mental illness. Like, you gotta understand. And it's just, there's so much to unwrap with that movie. I don't want to go into it or I'll talk forever, but that movie, I don't know, I felt like weird calm when I watched it, when it was finally over. And I wasn't like, it was a lot to take in.
One of the things that makes a good villain great, if you will, is their relatability, I would say.
Thanos. Really, he's the galaxy's most dedicated environmentalist.
Yeah, I guess that's how you can put it. He's like earlier, what you were saying is he's one of those villains that he's a villain, but he thinks what he's doing is good.
It's true.
And I like in Endgame how I don't remember what the detail was. I haven't seen that in a little while, but there's a little bit of acknowledgement that, like, yeah, with, you know, half the population gone, so, you know, the air quality is way better, something along those lines. They do acknowledge the fact that
with whales in the
was
bay.
it?
Yeah, they were spawning and being able to come out and do things because there weren't enough people and pollution was better, I guess. I don't know. So
Are there other villains that are so sure they're doing the right thing?
like as sure as Thanos.
Let's see. Well, like I said, Lex Luthor is one of those villains.
I thought he was really just
he
evil.
really thinks that what he's doing is good.
Hold on, I wasn't recorded when we talked about that earlier. So
I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's okay. So Lex Luthor believes he's doing good?
yeah. Lex Luthor, who some of you may know as Superman's greatest nemesis, thinks that he's doing good because he believes that Superman thinks too highly of himself and looks down on the human race and believes that humans deserve to accomplish things on their own terms instead of having some godlike alien kind of hold their hand through their development, if you will. So that's Lex's thing, is that he thinks that by defeating Superman, he can prove that humanity is superior. You know?
Oh, that does make sense. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's definitely a journey to get to that perspective. But he's also got his own like weird kind of semi-tragic backstory. He had a very abusive father. His mother was kind of distant because of it, or dead, depending on the story. His little sister got abused, and all of that gave him the drive to become one of the world's most influential billionaires. And as he was gaining that notoriety and respect, right, getting up to that Elon Musk level, here comes just random dude in a blue spandex suit with a red cape who caught a plane with his bare hands, and everything that he did throughout his entire life to get where he was meant nothing, because here was this guy who was born with it. You know, in his eyes, Superman was the one born with the silver spoon.
All right, so we got your heads thinking about villains. Cool. So what I'd like you to do today is give me one paragraph on the following. Right idea, bad approach. that seems to be something that villains struggle with. They have a goal that they want to accomplish that in their eyes is it's a noble goal, but their approach is what gets them in all the trouble. So take the discussion out of the world of comic books and let's apply it to how we see things in real life. If you want to use an example from history, great. If you want to use an example from your real life, cool. You want to use hypothetical examples, great. 1, 2, 3, all three, just two, whatever combination you want. But give me a paragraph on this idea that's you can have the right idea, but you can go about it in a very wrong way. We'll see you back here in the Basement 4 Part